welcome back to our channel. As you can see, this has been a long overdue video for part 2 of the homeschool series. Before we officially get started into this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel so that way you don't miss any other tips or any learning tips, homeschool tips, read alouds, all things that are educational. And also be sure to share this video and comment and tell us what you think, okay, towards the end of the video. Would love your feedback. Okay, so without further ado, if you have not seen the part 1 to this series, please stop what you're doing, go back to that video so that way you can see how to officially get started with homeschooling. This video is mainly, the purpose of this video is to hone in and design a curriculum that is catered to your kiddos, okay? So what I'm gonna do is pretty much screen share my computer screen, so that way you can see the design process of making the curriculum that I will make for my child, okay? So again, like, share this video, and let's go ahead and get started. This is the, of course, homeschool curriculum pasting guide. You can use whatever system that you want to use, or program that you want to use. I specifically love Microsoft Word to use, or even Google Docs, especially if you are in a homeschool co-op or in some type of homeschool group that you can kind of collaborate with. Both of these particular programs, you are able to send a link and everyone can collaborate at the same time to hone in on your curriculum pacing guide for your students, even if you do individual students or if you do as a group. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you need to do in order to make an effective homeschool curriculum is to really focus on the backwards design. And in the previous video of part 1, I kind of briefly talked about the backwards design. Backwards design, the first thing that you do is you think about the end in mind. That's what it's called, backwards. You're thinking about the end goal. For this particular curriculum, I'm only going to focus on a unit. Again, this particular unit is going to be only about 6 to 8 weeks long, okay? And with this particular unit or pacing guide, and the reason why I say pacing guide, because I actually break up the unit into weeks, okay? So the first thing I hone in on are the learning goals. So for this learning goal, I particularly look at what goals my child needs in order to finish out the unit, or what I want him to really focus on and master. So for reading, we're going to really focus on reading comprehension and inferencing. That's something that he struggles in. Writing, we're going to go ahead and focus on those writing processing skills, understand the writing process, how to do it, and how to become a good writer. Last school year, he had difficulty with decimals. So that's something that I want him to master. And then, of course, science and social studies, we're going to integrate with our reading and our writing. And also, I want him to think of critical thinking, especially when it comes to science. I want him to really use those critical thinking skills and strengthen those skills. Okay, so now that we have the learning goals, what I did was go ahead and start putting in some of those skills, again, working backwards, looking at the end goal of what I want my son to know. Let's go backwards and try to piece together to scaffold or give him steps to get to that end goal, okay? So, of course, for the first week 1, week 2, you want to hone in on like review. So he is going into the 6th grade this school year. And a lot of things that I want to review over with him is going to be, of course, fifth grade standards or fifth grade learning that he should have learned. But it also gives me a stepping stone of what he needs to know in order to get to that end goal of what he should have learned in fifth grade. Okay, so of course, grammar. We want our students to, going into teacher mode, but we want our children to understand grammar because it goes along with their reading and also goes along with their writing. Okay, so we're going to, of course, review punctuation, and then in week 3, we're going to start reviewing those corrective conjunctions. When it goes to him formulating sentences and recognizing different sentences for as complex sentence, compound sentences, all of those good stuff to really help him in his writing. So a lot of things are going to be intertwined together in order to get to those goals. Reading comprehension, again, the first week or 2, or even sometimes third week. Again, this has to be a working document. So depending on your child, you have to modify different things within the curriculum. So let's just say the reading assessment is pretty good. You know, we have a starting point, and with reading assessment, you can either get resources offline to have them read and kind of score them with their comprehension of their comprehension questions to see if they get them correct. Or there are online programs that they actually can use that they will read and actually answer through the online program. Okay, so either way, if you want to do old school way of printing it off and then asking them some questions to see if they understand, that will be a good assessment, or using and resource or researching some online reading assessments. If you know any online reading assessments, please be sure to put it in the comment section below. And then starting with that inferencing, that is one of the goals. So having that inferencing skill starting right after reading assessment. Now, it may change depending on how well he does with comprehension. If he struggles in just the basics of the H or the W questions, who, what, when, where. If he struggles in those particular questions, comprehension questions, then of course I would probably modify this to really focus on answering those W questions. But if not, and we can move on to inferencing and using those skills, then that's what I would go ahead and do. The highlighted focused reading, that is something that of course after doing the curriculum, that's what I would, after completing the curriculum and completing the plan of what I want my son to do, I would of course get those resources. So I have it highlighted because that's something that I would do after I put together what we're going to do. So the focus reading is going to be mainly what we're going to read during that time. So I may choose based on his reading assessment, what his reading level, you may want to look into that too, his reading level. I will look and see what books will be in his reading level, what books interest him. Again, if you have a struggling reader, you want to hone in on books that may be fun, something that caters to their interests. My son loves, of course, like martial arts things. He loves comic books. He loves to laugh. So those will probably be some of the books or focus reading that I would put there. Also, going into science and social studies, I would put the focus readings on there because remember, we're integrating and using our science and social studies readings and studies along with our reading comprehension. Okay, and in another video, I will show you a little bit more of integrating and how awesome it is to integrate. Okay, language, we would focus on pronouns, reviewing those. Again, reviewing their previous year studies, reviewing all of those things that they have probably missed that will really be beneficial for them in the long run as they move towards their goals. Pre-writing skills, we'll start working on narrative writing. Design process, that's something that goes along with critical thinking, especially when it comes to science. Understanding the design process and having them kind of train into their skills of deep thinking. Why is history important? Again, that's going along with the critical thinking, and also inferencing, understanding what their background knowledge is and using that towards coming up with their questions and having their ideas formulate. And then, of course, we're focusing on decimals. So I am going to have him review place value, understanding the place value and understanding the decimal part of place value. And that's probably something that he missed the previous year. Okay, so again, having it catered to my son and his particular learning goals, getting those end goals first, and then going along and going backwards into understanding what he particularly needs and moving forward. This will change throughout the school year. The curriculum will change throughout the school year. This will be our first unit, and then we'll move on into our next unit and see some of those learning goals, especially moving towards having those 6th grade standards and what he needs to know for 6th grade. Again, this particular curriculum is catered to my child and his educational needs. Make sure that you hone in on your child's individual goals, learning goals for the unit or for the school year of how long you want your curriculum to go. Be sure to send me all your questions and your comments in the comment section under this video. And I cannot wait for you guys to see part 3 of the homeschool series. Until next time, see you soon.